Hi, my name is Sarah Hayden. The title of my study is Exploring Industrial Trade Workers' Career, Construction Identity, and Perspectives on Attrition at a Central Florida Manufacturing Facility. I conducted this study under the guidance of my faculty advisor, Dr. Stefan Vaughn. Today, I'm going to go over the problem statement, the purpose statement, and research question, the theoretical framework, the literature review overview, methodology, overview of the findings, integration of the findings and the literature, implications and recommendations, limitations and delimitations, my distribution plan, and I will conclude with a reference page. The problem statement that initiated my study was that attrition among industrial trade workers in the manufacturing industry is a growing concern that impacts the United States economy. Because there is a projected accelerated growth rate from 2023 to 2033, the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics is reporting 663,500 job openings. Additionally, the Associated Equipment Distributors Foundation is projecting 73,500 trade openings. Failure to fill those roles will include an economic loss of $2.4 billion. My study is situated in Florida, where 14,000 manufacturing companies employ 409,000 trade workers, according to the National Association of Manufacturers. As a human resources professional in the manufacturing industry, I found my biggest hurdle was retaining trade workers with a developed career identity and filling open trade worker positions. With all of the open positions and 67% of manufacturing employers stating that employee retention is a significant operating concern, understanding trade workers' career identity and attrition perspectives became an important problem and focus for my study. The purpose of this qualitative, holistic, single case study was to explore how industrial trade workers describe their career identity and perspectives on attrition after completing a company-sponsored career construction mentorship program at a Central Florida manufacturing facility. I used the following research question to guide the study. How do industrial trade workers describe their career identity and perspectives on attrition after participating in a company-sponsored mentorship program grounded in career construction theory based on vocational personality, career adaptability, and life themes? The theoretical framework that guided my study was career construction theory founded by Mark Savickas. Career construction theory, or CCT, operates through three components. First, career personality, second, career adaptability, and third, life themes. Career personality describes one's abilities, needs, values, and interests. Career adaptability describes one's ability to cope with change or stress in the workplace. And life themes is the process of manifesting self into vocational development. Life themes also describes the process of reflecting on career history, contemplating one's current vocational situation, and projecting future career goals. The three components describe the realization of one's career identity. And I chose this theory because I wanted the employees at our manufacturing facility to not only have long-term employment, but find their true calling in a career. And not just that, I wanted them to be able to see their strengths and identify their values the way that I could see them. This theory and the components had all of the ingredients to formulate a recipe for one to develop their career, which could potentially solve the attrition problem in our industry. This literature review argues that mentorship program engagement and the subsequent career development decrease employee attrition. I explored three key concepts in my literature review. First, I looked into the concept of mentoring and evaluated what the literature had to say on the importance of mentor-mentee relationships, as well as current literature on manufacturing industry mentorship programs. Second, I investigated career construction, development, and career construction counseling and the role it played in such development. Third, I investigated what the literature had to say on the industrial trade worker population and the factors that play into career construction development of this group. Finally, I looked into the consequences and factors of trade worker attrition. The methodology used in this study was a qualitative, holistic, single case study. The site was a Central Florida manufacturing facility, which was the pseudonym. The participants included 5 trade workers, which I selected through criterion sampling. The criteria for the participants was that they were employed for less than 1 year and had completed the company-sponsored mentorship program. I collected data through semi-structured interviews as well as a single focus group meeting. Through the analysis of semi-structured interview transcripts and a focus group transcript, I identified 3 key findings. First, I found that participants described their career identity and perspectives on attrition through self-alignment and skill evaluation. The patterns that emerged from the data included vocational traits and strengths. The participants discussed how these attributes aligned with their work role. Also, competencies emerged as a pattern as the participants evaluated the skills they possessed or needed for their role. As a result, the participants understood that developing professional identity and capability is a dynamic process that involves self-alignment and skill evaluation. The next finding includes systematic preparation and career agency. The participants discussed the actions of future-oriented planning and taking responsibility for their work. Additionally, the participants discussed mindsets such as proactively exploring career in terms of options and paths, as well as resiliency in the face of change and stress or obstacles. As a result, the participants identified intentional career management as a combination of systematic preparation and career agency. The final finding includes narrative integration and values-driven future authoring. The participants discussed their identified personal growth along the timeline of their careers, proactive agency, or the way they actively reshaped their career narrative, and positive orientation, which emerged as the identification and connection of the participants' values to their goals. As a result, the participants indicated meaningful self-development as a process involving narrative integration and values-driven future authoring. The findings integrated with the literature in 6 ways. The first thematic statement was supported by literature that identified professional identity and capabilities as an ongoing process. Additionally, skills evaluation was found, oftentimes through mentorship, to be useful for goal setting required for work roles. The second thematic statement was supported by literature that stated professional development through mentorship in particular is synonymous with a pathway for opportunity for workers in transition. Also, proactive and adaptive career management strategies for overcoming workplace obstacles were recognized, in addition to career exploration being a beneficial career management strategy. Finally, the last thematic statement was supported by literature that emphasized individual career narrative and the benefits. This included narrating early career experiences, current circumstances, as well as future career goals. Also, future work self was found to be a combination of values and a desired future. The findings of my study have implications for 3 key decision maker groups. First, for industrial manufacturing business owners, I recommend the implementation of pre-employment testing to assess for job fit, ensuring that personal strengths align with job tasks. I also recommend that business owners lead employee engagement committees to foster relationships and provide entrepreneurial exploration of leadership attributes and skills. The findings of my study have implications for industrial manufacturing human resource professionals. For this key decision-making group, I recommend integrating employee management plans into onboarding, which includes pairing new employees with mentors. During the first few weeks of employment, pairing new employees with seasoned employees would give support and structure to the employment experience. I also recommend human resource professionals provide individualized career training, development, and guidance. I recommend that the human resource professionals implement stay interviews, incorporating the Life Themes framework. This would ensure follow-up occurs with career guidance. The findings of my study have implications for the vocational trade-based educators, also known as CTE. I recommend this demographic of educators incorporate career education and guidance, such as self-discovery inventories, self-discovery values inventories, and anything that brings awareness to themselves and their career, in addition to the traditional trade-based education. I also recommend revising the curriculum to prepare CTE students for the future of their trade, which would entail technology and artificial intelligence training. Finally, I recommend that CTE educators implement business training as a way to prepare trade workers for the structure of organizations they will work for, as well as highlight career possibilities that would allow for independence in the trade, as this was unanimously cited by the participants as a career goal. I identified two limitations in my study. First, participant bias may have been present as I performed interviews as a human resource professional leader in the organization where my study took place. Participant bias may have been present as the participants answered questions in a manner that they anticipated I was looking for, rather than giving honest feedback. As I interviewed the participants, I noticed a few withheld robustly responding to the questions and seemed inhibited with sometimes a single word answer or a very short answer. This impacted my ability to identify patterns among the data. And finally, the homogeneous demographics of the participants gave me a one-dimensional view of the problem. The delimitation of the study included the sample size, which was purposely limited to industrial trade workers at a single manufacturing facility lacking diversity. My distribution plan will focus on the three key decision-making groups of the industrial manufacturing business owners, human resource professionals, as well as vocational and trade-based educators. For the business owners and human resource groups, I will target our internal teams, sharing the results of my study as well as the implications and recommendations. Next, I will target organizations that lobby and research for the manufacturing business sector, such as the National Association of Manufacturers and the Associated Equipment Distributors, among others. I will also target local and national organizations for human resource management. Among both, I will pursue publishing opportunities as well as speaking engagements. For the vocational trade-based educator group, I will target our local school district as well as our local technical college and state college, sharing my study's findings, implications, and recommendations. I will also contact organizations such as the National Skills Coalition, the Project on Workforce at Harvard University, and Skills USA, to name a few, to share the study's findings and how it can contribute to the broader conversation of industrial trade worker attrition and career identity.